Have you noticed that feeling lately, where you're technically rested but you still don't want to do anything? Most of us are walking around with this weird phantom exhaustion, and it's not kind of tired you get after a long hike or, I don't know, making some of your hands. It's that modern screen-lit burnout. It's the feeling of your brain running 100 background processes while you're just trying to focus on one thing. We're constantly told we are the luckiest generation to ever exist. We got internet, modern medicine, 24/7 access to every piece of information, every coordinate that we'll ever need. Then we look at the Middle Ages and we see a horror movie, mud, plague, etc. And yeah, we feel like we won the lottery, and in a way I guess we did. But then again, there's a specific kind of brain rot we have now that a medieval peasant couldn't possibly imagine. We aren't just more stressed than them, we're exhausted in a way that's actually unnatural for us. And we're currently being asked to do things with your mind that your biology isn't really equipped for. The scary part, you think it's your fault. Now, let's just think about a peasant in Europe in the 14th century. When the sun goes down, the day's over. Period. Candles are expensive, it's pitch black outside, and there's physically nothing left to do but eat and sleep. Their work had a hard biological wall. Then look at your life. Your work, your social obligations, and your productivity follow you everywhere. It's literally in your pocket, man. It's like you're never actually finished with a day. You're just in a state of this temporary pause. We've created this culture of the infinite to-do list, and you spend your relaxing time thinking about what you should be doing. That constant low-level background radiation of guilt, the feeling that you're slowly falling behind because you aren't grinding at 11 p.m. That's modern invention, man. It's a slow burn stress that is literally draining your battery 24/7. And here's the part that's going to make you actually angry. The 150-day weekend. Now, we have this mental image of peasants slaving away every waking second until they drop dead. But history actually shows us something different. Between church festivals, saints' days, and the natural off-seasons of farming, a lot of medieval laborers had more actual brain off time than you do. I'm not saying their life was that easy. I've looked a bit into what their off time actually looked like. And yeah, it was still physical. They were still hauling water, fixing tools, etc., etc. It was grueling work. But there's a massive difference between physical chores and the mental non-stop stress we deal with now. So what I want to say is that their lives had a pulse, you know? There was a harvest, which was brutal, and then there were weeks where the entire community could slow down a bit. There was no muscle culture in the dead of winter, you know? We've replaced that natural rhythm with a flat, grey line of constant productivity. We're asking our bodies to be in harvest mode every single day of the year, so no wonder you are burned out. But even if you manage to find a little bit of free time, you're hitting a wall they never had. The scale of your world. Your brain was designed to live in a tribe of, maybe 50 to 150 people. And in that world, if you were the best wood carver or, the fastest runner, you felt valuable. Your status was secure. But now, you pick up a hobby, you try to learn a skill, and 10 seconds later, the algorithm shows you a 10-year-old Chinese kid halfway across the world who's 100 times better than you'll ever be. We're comparing our behind-the-scenes footage to everyone else's highlight reel. And your monkey brain doesn't understand that the person you're watching on TikTok isn't in your tribe. The only thing it does is it registers that you are at the bottom of the hierarchy. We're competing with 8 billion people for status, and it makes every one of your achievements feel small. It's a glitch in our hardware that makes us feel like failures just for being normal. This leads into why everything feels so hollow lately. We have lost the closed loop. There's a deep biological satisfaction in doing something tangible. Making something with your hands, baking bread, I don't know. You do the work, you see the result, that's the point. And your brain releases the Okay, good job, well done, chemicals, and that's it. Close loop. But most of us will spend our lives moving pixels, sending emails, filling out spreadsheets that disappear into a cloud server. You put in 8 hours of labor, but you've got nothing to show for it at the end of the day that your brain would recognize as something real. We're putting in the calories, but we never get to see the crop grow. We're essentially starving for a result we can actually touch. We're highly productive on paper, we are psychologically malnourished. And what's crazy to me is that we call this freedom. We're told we can be anything, go anywhere and do anything, but for a peasant, life was much more simple because it was certain. They didn't have identity crisis. Peasant didn't sit in his hut wondering if he should have been a lawyer or a doctor or a developer. He knew exactly who he was, who his family was, and where he fit in the world. He had gravity, whether he liked it or not. We have this infinite choice, which sounds good at first, but then you realize it's actually a trap. The paradox of choice. We spend our lives terrified that we are living the wrong version of our lives. We're paralyzed by the fear of missed opportunities. We have all this freedom, yet no direction. The peasant was already on his path, for better or worse. We're just drifting in a void, hoping we stumble into a purpose that probably doesn't even actually exist. Look, I'm not saying we should go back to 1300s. I like having heat and electricity and internet and everything, but if you do feel anxious or like you're just drifting through your own life, it's not necessarily you who is at fault. Stop thinking you're lazy or not disciplined enough. Well, you might as well be that too, but that's a topic for another video. Think about it this way, you're running 2026 software on a 10,000-year-old hardware. You weren't designed for constant stimulation, global competition, this abstract type of labor. You're a biological creature. Biological creature that's trapped in a digital cage. And maybe the reason you feel like you're failing isn't because you're just weak, just because you're trying to win a game that wasn't designed for humans to play in the first place. So do yourself a favor today. Put the phone down, just go outside, breathe some air, man, touch some grass. Even the peasants knew when to call today.